Have you ever wondered how a single artist could straddle the worlds of country music, rockabilly, comedy, film, and even television, somehow succeeding in them all and earning a unique place in American pop culture? Today we're going to unravel the remarkable yet often underappreciated story of Jerry Reed. Jerry Reed was a chart-topping singer, a brilliant guitarist dubbed a certified guitar player by none other than Chet Atkins, a hit songwriter for legends like Elvis Presley and Johnny Cash, and a movie co-star alongside Burt Reynolds in some of the most iconic comedy action flicks of the 1970s. Yet even all that only scratches the surface of his larger-than-life journey. Stay with us as we delve into his extraordinary life, an odyssey that sweeps from foster homes to the top of the charts, from small stage jam sessions to major Hollywood roles, all culminating in a legacy that still resonates through modern music and film today. Jerry Reed's story began on March 20th, 1937, in Atlanta, Georgia, as the second child of Robert and Cynthia Hubbard Reed. Though he would grow up to become a fixture in country music and beyond, Jerry's earliest years were marked by instability. His parents separated just 4 months after he was born, setting in motion a turbulent childhood. For 7 years, young Jerry and his sister lived in a succession of foster homes and orphanages, an experience that could have crushed a weaker spirit. Then in 1944, a turning point came. Jerry was reunited with his mother, now remarried to Jerry's stepfather, providing a semblance of family life he'd rarely known. That sense of normalcy, however, was never entirely guaranteed. Even at a young age, Jerry Reed was already forging his own path, driven by the music percolating in his head. By the time he attended O'Keefe High School, an Atlanta City school, Jerry was writing songs and entertaining classmates with his own brand of guitar picking. This budding gift would soon define his future. At age 18, Jerry's passion culminated in a pivotal moment. Record producer and publisher Bill Lowry signed him to record his first single, If the Good Lord's Willing and the Creek Don't Rise, for Capitol Records. For a teenager in the 1950s, this was like being catapulted straight into the big leagues. Music executives promoted him as a teenage rockabilly sensation after hearing him belt out his own tune, When I Found You, in 1956. At first glance, these early recordings were largely overshadowed by the big names of the era, but Jerry's talent was undeniable, both in country and in rockabilly. His songwriting prowess quickly emerged when rockabilly star Gene Vincent recorded Crazy Legs in 1958, one of Jerry's compositions that garnered broader attention. By that year, Bill Lowry had signed Jerry to his National Recording Corporation, NRC, where Jerry performed not only as a solo artist, but also as part of the house band, alongside musicians like Joe South and Ray Stevens. This environment of creativity and collaboration shaped Jerry's burgeoning style, offering him the chance to refine his guitar work and flourish in the studio. In 1959, he took a major step in his personal life by marrying Priscilla Prissy Mitchell, soon to be known for her own musical career. Prissy performed in the folk group The Appalachians and even appeared on a #1 country single, Yes, Mr. Peters, in 1965, credited alongside Roy Drusky. Jerry and Prissy would go on to have 2 daughters, Sadina Ann Hubbard, born April 2, 1960, and Charlotte Elaine Hubbard, born October 19, 1970. This stable, supportive family life would become a through line that kept Jerry grounded, even as his music career took him on a whirlwind journey. But his road to fame wasn't always smooth. In 1959, Jerry scored a minor placement on the Billboard Bubbling Under the Top 100 charts and Cashbox Country chart with Soldier's Joy. It was progress, but not exactly a breakthrough. Then came 2 years in the United States Army, a duty that temporarily paused his performing but did little to stifle his songwriting. Even while in uniform, his compositions continued to reach publishers, culminating in a cover by Brenda Lee of That's All You Gotta Do in 1960. When Jerry's military service ended in 1961, he made an important move to Nashville, the epicenter of country music. There, his compositions, guitar style, and warm, relatable presence found fertile ground. He became both a sought-after session musician, accompanying other artists on their recordings, and a touring guitarist, known for his versatile approach that bridged country, rockabilly, and even comedic elements. By 1962, his single Goodnight Irene and the instrumental Hully Gully guitar caught the ear of guitar wizard and producer Chet Atkins, who would become a major figure in Jerry's professional life. Atkins was, at the time, a formidable force at RCA Victor, a label that housed an elite roster of country artists. He produced Jerry's single, If I Don't Live Up to It, in 1965, showcasing the precise, intricate picking style that Jerry was honing, a style that would later be immortalized in compositions such as The Claw. Among country guitarists, Jerry's skill was an immediate sensation, weaving a complexity that few could match. In July 1967, Jerry Reed made a mark on the country charts with his self-penned Guitar Man. The track would soon receive an extra jolt of fame when Elvis Presley covered it, an event that permanently entwined Jerry's name with the king of rock and roll. Indeed, Elvis seemed to gravitate to Jerry's writing style, and the synergy was instantaneous. When Jerry released his next single, Tupelo, Mississippi Flash, a playful tribute to Elvis, it soared to number 15 on the country charts, his first top 20 success. Around that same time, Elvis traveled to Nashville for a September 1967 recording session and couldn't resist laying down Guitar Man in the studio. But there was a catch. The producers found they couldn't replicate Jerry's signature picking style with a studio stand-in, so they insisted that Jerry be brought in to play guitar himself. I hit that intro, and his Elvis's face lit up, Jerry later recalled. In that moment, the synergy was so electric, it sealed a creative bond. Elvis didn't stop there. The same sessions yielded Elvis's take on U.S. Mail, another Jerry Reed original, and also featured Jerry's playing on Big Boss Man. Over January 15th and 16th, 1968, Elvis returned to the studio with Jerry in tow, recording Chuck Berry's Too Much Monkey Business, Stay Away, Going Home, and once more, U.S. Mail. Later, Elvis would record a thing called Love in 1971 for the album He Touched Me and Talk About the Good Times. In 1973, totaling 4 Jerry Reed compositions that Elvis singled out over the years. Even Johnny Cash got in on the action, releasing a thing called Love as a single in 1971, reaching number 2 on the Billboard Country Singles chart. That track would also be featured as the title cut of Cash's studio album the following spring. For Jerry Reed, it was an astonishing achievement to have 2 of the largest icons in American music, Elvis Presley and Johnny Cash, embracing his songs. Meanwhile, Jerry also pursued his own recording career. After releasing the 1970 crossover hit, Amos Moses, a swampy blend of rock, country, funk, and Cajun influences that reached number 8 on the U.S. pop charts, he teamed up with Chet Atkins for the duet album, Me and Jerry. This collaboration proved magical, earning the Grammy Award for Best Country Instrumental Performance. The synergy between Jerry's bold picking and Atkins's refined approach created a unique blend that charmed critics and fans alike. It also cemented Jerry's standing as a musician's musician, a player whose technical prowess was matched by a flair for showmanship and a sense of humor. Jerry's momentum continued. He became a regular fixture on television, notably appearing on the Glenn Campbell Good Time Hour during the 1970 season. In 1971, he scored his biggest chart success with When You're Hot, You're Hot, a humorous, partially spoken word track that soared to #1 on the country charts and even cracked the pop listings. It also earned Jerry a Grammy for Best Country Vocal Performance Male, proving that his comedic timing and breezy storytelling could captivate mainstream audiences. The single's success helped catapult the album of the same name to strong sales, while his earlier single Amos Moses also kept climbing. Both songs sold over 1 million copies, earning the coveted gold disc from the RIAA. Beyond the jokes in When You're Hot, You're Hot, the track solidified Jerry's reputation as a versatile showman capable of bridging multiple genres with ease. Critics praised Jerry for exuding 3 personalities all at once: the redneck crazy, the fancy picker, and the soap idol who shone effortlessly on TV. He was at once comedic, eccentric, and technically brilliant. More hits followed, as did more collaborations with Chet Atkins, particularly Me and Chet in 1972. Jerry's singles veered between comedic, high-energy escapades like Tupelo, Mississippi Flash, and more subdued, folk-tinged material. In 1973, he reached the top of the charts again with Lord Mr. Ford. Along the way, he continued to help Atkins develop iconic guitar techniques like the finger style, picking on Yakety sax. As a testament to his towering reputation, Chet Atkins named Jerry Reed one of only 5 individuals to ever hold the title certified guitar player, a rare accolade Atkins reserved for those who had truly mastered the instrument. By the mid-1970s, Jerry's center of gravity began shifting from the music studio to the movie set. While he kept recording, film roles beckoned with increasing frequency, largely due to his close friendship with actor Burt Reynolds. Their camaraderie led to Jerry's co-starring role in WW and the Dixie Dance Kings, 1974, followed by Gator, 1976, Highballin', 1978, and Hot Stuff, 1979. But the role that truly catapulted him into mainstream pop culture fame was his appearance in Smokey and the Bandit, 1977, alongside Reynolds and Sally Field. As the truck-driving snowman, Jerry not only delivered comedic flair, but also contributed the catchy, infectious soundtrack tune Eastbound and Down, which climbed to #2 on the charts. The film's success was massive, prompting sequels, Smokey and the Bandit 2, 1980, and Smokey and the Bandit Part 3, 1983, in which Jerry reprised his role. The public identified him equally as a comedic actor and a chart-topping musician, a rare crossover seldom achieved with such success. Beyond that big-screen partnership, Jerry took stabs at television as well, hosting The Jerry Reed Show in 1976 for 2 episodes. While it didn't become a long-running series, those episodes highlighted his gift for storytelling, musical performance, and gentle humor. Meanwhile, he invested in the Nashville Sounds, a Double-A minor league baseball team, alongside stars like Conway Twitty and Cal Smith, reflecting Jerry's multifaceted interests and willingness to explore ventures beyond the music stage. Music remained close to his heart, though. In 1976, Scottish rock band the sensational Alex Harvey Band covered Amos Moses, a testament to Jerry's impact beyond American shores. In 1979, Jerry took another creative leap by releasing an album called Half and Half, featuring both vocal and instrumental tracks. The following year, Jerry Reed Sings Jim Croce paid tribute to the late singer-songwriter, showcasing Jerry's capacity to interpret other artists' work with sincerity and flair. He also dabbled in TV movie territory, starring in Concrete Cowboys in 1979. Early in 1980, he was back in the studio re-recording Guitar Man with Elvis producer Felton Jarvis, introducing a hopped-up guitar line and new production twists for a fresh generation of listeners. Amazingly, Jerry kept scoring country hits in the early 1980s. She Got the Gold Mine, I Got the Shaft, rocketed to number 1 in 1982, followed closely by The Bird, which peaked at number 2. These songs further cemented his comedic country style, hooking audiences with a blend of wit, story song narratives, and the unstoppable groove of his guitar. His last charting single, I'm a Slave, arrived in 1983. That same year, Jerry ventured briefly into comedic film territory again, co-starring with Robin Williams and Walter Matthau in Michael Ritchie's The Survivors. He even appeared in an episode of Mama's Family, playing Naomi Harper's ex-husband, and was said to have departed a Dexy's Midnight Runners tour to appear on the country variety show Hee Haw, a testament to how his comedic persona, musical talent, and star power converged. Though his chart success tapered off after the early 80s, Jerry remained active. In 1986, he attempted one more album, Lookin' at You, which didn't make a huge splash, so he switched focus to touring and other projects. In 1992, he reunited with Chet Atkins for Sneakin' Around, reminding fans that his finger-picking magic hadn't dimmed at all. By then, Jerry was a revered elder statesman in country music, even appearing in interviews for Mid-South Wrestling and demonstrating that typical Jerry Reed sense of humor in unexpected settings. He had a small part as a Huey pilot in Bat 21, 1988, starring Gene Hackman and Danny Glover, and later returned to comedic form in Adam Sandler's 1998 film, The Waterboy, playing the antagonist Red Beaulieu, head coach of the University of Louisiana Cougars. His comedic timing remained as razor-sharp as ever. Meanwhile, younger artists continued to rediscover Jerry's music. He teamed up with Waylon Jennings, Mel Tillis, and Bobby Bare to form the group Old Dogs, releasing an album in 1998 with songs written by Shel Silverstein. The American rock band Primus covered Amos Moses on their 1998 EP Rhinoplasty, once again injecting Jerry's swampy style into a modern rock context. His music even slipped into video game culture when Amos Moses was featured on the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas soundtrack in 2004. An entirely new audience encountered Jerry's improbable fusion of funk, country, and comedic storytelling. The British group Alabama 3 also recorded a version of Amos Moses around 2007, further demonstrating the continuing cross-Atlantic appeal of Jerry's discography. In 2005, acclaimed guitarist Eric Johnson included tribute to Jerry Reed on his album Bloom, highlighting how Jerry remained a revered figure for serious pickers. After all, only 5 people were ever declared certified guitar players by Chet Atkins. Jerry was one of them, putting him in the same exalted category as Steve Werner, John Knowles, Tommy Emmanuel, and Atkins himself. This was more than a title. It represented the recognition that Jerry's style, equal parts wit, complexity, and fluidity, was something special, difficult to imitate, and deeply influential. Jerry Reed's final chapter came on September 1st, 2008, when he passed away in Nashville from complications related to emphysema at age 71. He left behind a legacy that was at once comedic, profound, musically intricate, and consistently entertaining. For fans of country music, Jerry's name evokes memories of foot-tapping hits like When You're Hot, or The Unstoppable Spirit of Eastbound and Down. For devotees of the guitar, he remains a near-mythic figure whose approach to finger-picking and syncopation revolutionized what country guitar could be. For film enthusiasts, he was Snowman, the affable sidekick in Smokey and the Bandit, or the charmingly devious Red Beaulieu in The Waterboy. And for those who simply enjoy a good yarn, his half-spoken comedic tunes and cameo appearances on talk shows and variety programs remain as fresh and humorous as ever. Looking at Jerry's life, it's impossible not to speculate. How did a kid born into family turmoil, spending years in foster care, blossom into a star bridging so many worlds? Maybe that restlessness, those early uncertainties, fueled his willingness to experiment. Jerry wasn't an artist content to do just one thing. Where some singers might have opted for a stable, singular career as a country crooner, Jerry always found new corners to explore, from comedic hosting to cameo voiceovers, such as his animated appearance on the new Scooby-Doo movies in 1972, where he performed Pretty Mary Sunlight. He also engaged with local business ventures, became a part-time baseball investor, and found time to star in music videos and comedic segments for professional wrestling. Every dimension of American popular culture seemed open to Jerry, and he rarely hesitated to jump right in. Another factor in his success was his collaborations. The synergy between Jerry Reed and Chet Atkins was legendary. Their comedic banter, mutual admiration, and friendly sparring on the fretboard produced some of country's most revered guitar duets. With Elvis, Jerry experienced the thrill of hearing the king transform his compositions into new hits, simultaneously offering his invaluable guitar playing in the studio. His comedic synergy with Burt Reynolds made Smokey and the Bandit a staple of 1970s cinematic history. And even in later years, hooking up with Waylon Jennings, Mel Tillis, and Bobby Bare as the Old Dogs displayed Jerry's unstoppable sense of fun and willingness to innovate, even in his 60s. Then there was his pure gift for songwriting. Often overshadowed by his comedic persona and flamboyant guitar style, Jerry's lyrics and melodic lines carried a punchy directness that appealed to fans across the board. She Got the Gold Mine, I Got the Shaft is an example of how he combined humor with a real-life, relatable scenario. Amos Moses, on the other hand, told a swampy backwoods tale with an earworm hook that fans still belt out. Whether comedic or heartfelt, Jerry's writing always contained a sense of storyline, something that made each tune feel like a short film set to music. Jerry's on-screen persona, friendly, slightly mischievous, and forever cracking jokes, wasn't far removed from the real Jerry Reed. Burt Reynolds once famously said he considered Jerry to be the best actor he'd ever worked with, which is high praise given Reynolds' own star-studded resume. Part of what Reynolds might have recognized was Jerry's authenticity. No matter how comedic or outlandish the role, Jerry inhabited it with a natural ease. His comedic timing was impeccable, whether delivering lines or comedic pratfalls. At the same time, he managed to preserve his everyman charm, that sense of down-home sincerity that had defined him since childhood. Over the decades, Jerry's presence in popular culture took unexpected detours. He popped up in Alice, the sitcom about a roadside diner, in both 1978 and 1981. He recorded a TV movie, Concrete Cowboys, and made cameo appearances in commercials for Mid-South Wrestling. He rubbed shoulders with Robin Williams, Walter Matthau, Gene Hackman, Adam Sandler, names that spanned comedic and dramatic spectrums. All the while, he maintained a foot in country music, continuing to tour and record sporadically until health issues finally forced him to slow down. When Jerry died in 2008, country music lost one of its true originals. His songs are still played on classic country radio and find new life in covers by jam bands, rock acts, and country artists unafraid to venture into comedic territory. Younger guitarists who study the fingerstyle techniques championed by Chet Atkins invariably encounter Jerry's method. They realize with some amazement that the flamboyant showman, best known for comedic hits and cameo movie roles, was in fact a virtuoso whose syncopations and chord voicings continue to perplex even advanced players. Contemporary fingerstyle guitar giants such as Tommy Emmanuel openly cite Jerry's brilliance, pointing to him as a major influence. Jerry's comedic hits like When You're Hot, and Amos Moses ensured that the broader public never forgot his brand of humor. But it's possible that a younger generation might stumble across Eastbound and down in a film revival or on a streaming service, sparking renewed curiosity about the man behind the infectious tune. In an age where so many artists become pigeonholed, Jerry's multifaceted career can seem almost inconceivable. Yet he made it look effortless, gliding from a guitar duet with Chet Atkins to a comedic confrontation with Jackie Gleason's Sheriff Buford T. Justice to cameo voice, acting for an animated Scooby-Doo episode. He was also a genuine family man, married to Prissy Mitchell for nearly 5 decades, raising 2 daughters, and often returning home to Nashville to recharge. Such stability isn't always easy for celebrities, especially those with a hand in multiple entertainment domains. Jerry's strong marriage, combined with an abiding sense of fun, likely provided the anchor he needed to flourish amid the breakneck pace of show business. Even as he soared on the country charts or hammered out scorching riffs in the RCA studio, Jerry never lost that irreverent sense of humor, a quality that endeared him to colleagues and fans alike. Is there more to uncover about Jerry Reed? Absolutely. His cameo in Mama's Family might not be the first thing that leaps to mind when listing his achievements, but it showcases just how widely his talent spread. His cameo appearances in Hee Haw displayed how at home he felt in comedic variety settings. Even his short-lived variety show, The Jerry Reed Show, stands as a curious footnote in television history. One wonders how it might have evolved had it been given a broader chance to develop. There's also his friendship with Burt Reynolds, a bond that transcended show business alliances to become a genuine connection spanning decades. And behind every comedic line or guitar lick lies the intangible sense that Jerry never took his success for granted, retaining a spark of childlike curiosity throughout his life. Ultimately, he left us with an eternal paradox. Jerry Reed, the unstoppable comedic presence, was also Jerry Reed, the virtuosic musician. One minute he'd be cracking jokes with Glenn Campbell, the next minute he'd be turning out a mind-boggling riff that could leave seasoned players speechless. This dual identity stands as a testament to the complexity and unpredictability of the man behind the grin and the guitar. Now, if you've made it this far, chances are you're feeling that same sense of awe that so many have experienced when discovering or rediscovering Jerry Reed. Maybe you're itching to revisit the Smokey and the Bandit trilogy, or perhaps you're already loading up Amos Moses on your favorite music platform, excited to dissect those syncopated guitar lines. Whichever path you take, you'll find Jerry's presence weaving effortlessly between music, film, and raw entertainment, leaving behind an unmistakable footprint. It's not every day that an artist transcends so many boundaries, bridging generational gaps and sprinkling his signature sense of fun across multiple decades. Thank you for joining this journey into the life and times of Jerry Reed. We hope his story, from foster homes to chart-topping hits, from comedic classics to finger-style guitar virtuosity, inspires you to seek out more of his work. Who knows? Maybe you'll uncover a hidden track that floors you, or find a comedic cameo you never knew existed. That's the beauty of Jerry Reed's legacy. There's always another story to discover, another guitar lick to admire, or another wry punchline that sparks a chuckle. Whether you knew him as the snowman, the comedic star, or the certified guitar player, one thing is for sure. Jerry Reed remains a singular talent in American entertainment history. And that's a legacy worth celebrating and remembering for generations to come.